Welcome to the Madison Miller Podcast. Today is Tuesday, October 14th, 2025. All right, we have the Baseball League Championship Series games from yesterday to go over. Then we'll look ahead to tonight's game 2 between the Brewers and the Dodgers. We had 2 Monday Night Football games from last night. We'll touch on those. NHL, soccer, college football. I'll give you my NFL Tuesday bet and reveal what my mulligan was. News and notes and my best bet for today. All right, first baseball. 2 games yesterday, LCS and NLCS. The ALCS was first as the Mariners decisively beat the Blue Jays 10-3 to take a 2-0 series lead. This team's on fire, getting the win. Edward Barzado, the loss. Trey Savage, who blew up and was a one-time flash in the pan. Now is my biggest fear for Cam Schlittler in that Blue Jays game, but he was good, but it was the offense that let him down. But in this case, Savage was the flash in the pan. And then the Dodgers beat the Brewers 2-1 as they escape with a 1-run win. Blake Snell the win. Getting thing with the loss, Chad Patrick, and getting the save was Blake Trinan. And Blake Snell was outstanding in this game. And the Brewers did have the tying run in the 9th inning. They were close. And then tonight, 8 o'clock on TBS, Dodgers, Brewers, Yoshi Yamamoto and Freddie Peralta. The Dodgers are probably favored in this one, too. They're minus 116. The Brewers are minus 102 over under 7.5. Overs even money. Unders minus 122. Dodgers minus 1.5 plus 155. Brewers plus 1.5 minus 188. I'm taking the Brewers. I think there's a reason this line is what it is. I know they're factoring in desperation and whatnot. But the Brewers have to win this game, or else the series ain't going back to Milwaukee. So I'm going to lay the minus 102 for the Brewers on their home field. Okay, now we'll move on to Monday Night Football. 2 games last night and 2 entertaining games. We'll talk about them right now. First game, the Falcons with a great win over the Buffalo Bills, 24-14. Falcons go to 3-2. Buffalo drops to 4-2, and now we're in a tie with the Patriots for first place in the AFC East. And the Bears beat the Commanders 25-24 as they get revenge from last year, as they end the game with a Jake Moody field goal, 38 yards as time expired. So Bears Commanders with 2 great games, 2 years in a row of great games. So Chicago's 3-2 and Washington is 3-3. And this result with Washington from a standing standpoint, I mean, Philadelphia obviously losing to the Giants. I mean, they win. Dallas loses to Carolina and then Washington loses, and the Giants all of a sudden are 2 games back from the Eagles in first in the division and 1 game back of Washington as the tiebreaker over them because of week 1. But they play each other again. And then the Giants did lose to Dallas, but the Dallas also has that tie. And then the Giants play Dallas again. And both of those games that they played were with Russell Wilson and not Jackson Dart. So there you go. So a little bit of cockiness and not cockiness, but like LOLs coming from a Giants fan with the 3 teams in the division all losing. All right, hockey. We'll go over yesterday's results and look ahead to tonight's games. I actually remember doing NHL on the podcast for once. Avs over to Sabres 3-1, Lightning over to Bruins 4-3, Preds over to Sens 4-1, Jets over to Isles 5-2, Red Wings over to Maple Leafs 3-2, Flyers over to Panthers 5-2, Devils over to Blue Jackets 3-2, Blues over to Canucks 5-2, Wild over to Kings 4-3 in a shootout, and The Blackhawks over the Mammoth 3-1. All right, tonight, 7 o'clock, you have the Oilers at the Rangers. Oilers minus 137, the Rangers plus 114, over under 5.5. Overs minus 140, unders plus 114. Oilers minus 1.5, plus 176. Rangers plus 1.5, minus 220. I'm taking the Rangers as a home dog, plus 114. Igor Shesterkin back in net. I think they'll respond after getting shut out. And plus, they're due to win at home, and they're due to score goals at home. And this is a good spot for the Rangers. I'm taking them at plus 114. Edmonton's first game out east, too. Preds Leafs. Leafs minus 182. Preds plus 150. Over under 6.5. Overs minus 102. Unders minus 120. Preds plus 1.5 minus 164. Leafs minus 1.5 plus 134. I'm going to go with an alternate under 5.5 with Sorrow in net. Plus 132. Kraken Canadiens. Canadiens minus 154. Kraken plus 128. Over under 5.5. Overs minus 132. Unders plus 108. Kraken plus 1.5 is minus 94. Habs minus 1.5 plus 156. I'm going to go... I can't believe I'm doing this. I'm going with the Habs in regulation at even money. Lightning Capitals on ESPN. That's a decent game. Caps minus 113. Lightning minus 106. Over under 5.5. Overs minus 130. And there's plus 106. Lightning plus 1.5 is minus 65. Caps minus 1.5 plus 210. I think this is kind of a prove-it spot for the Capitals to remember, hey, don't forget about us. And they're favored. And they're a slight favorite. I'm going to take them at minus 113. 9 o'clock, you have the Golden Knights against the Flames. Vegas minus 172. Flames plus 142. Over under 5.5. Overs minus 130. Unders plus 106. Vegas minus 1.5 is plus 142. Flames plus 1.5 is minus 176. Under plus 106. 9:30 ESPN. Wild Stars. That's a good one. Two 4-point teams. Dallas minus 194. Minnesota plus 160. Over under 5.5. Overs minus 140. Unders plus 114. Wild plus 1.5 is minus 162. Stars minus 1.5 plus 134. I like the under 5.5 at plus 114. 10 o'clock. Hurricanes Sharks. Canes minus 250. Sharks plus 205. Over under 6.5. Overs minus 114. Unders minus 106. Canes minus 1.5 is minus 102. Sharks plus 1.5 minus 120. I want to take the Canes on the puck line, but West Coast game, weird shit happens. I'm going to go over 6.5 at minus 114. And then 10:30's Penguins Ducks. Ducks minus 144. Penguins plus 120. Over under 6.5. Overs plus 106. Unders minus 130. Pens plus 1.5 is minus 10. Ducks minus 1.5 plus 168. I'm going to go over 6.5 at plus 106. Okay, now we'll move on to soccer. We'll go over notable results from yesterday and today, and we'll look ahead to stuff today and tomorrow. All right, friendlies. From yesterday, Uruguay over Uzbekistan 2-1, Montenegro over Liechtenstein 2-1. UEFA, Iceland, France 2-2 draw, Pakistan, North Macedonia 1-1 draw, Germany over Northern Ireland 1-0, Slovakia over Luxembourg 2-0, Slovenia, Switzerland 0-0 draw, Kosovo over Sweden 1-0, Ukraine over Azerbaijan 2-1, Belgium over Wales 4-2. African, Liberia, Equatorial Guinea 1-1 draw, Sao Tome and Principe over Malawi 1-0, South Sudan, Togo 0-0 draw, Tunisia over Nambia 3-0, Cameroon, Angola 0-0 draw, Cape Verde Islands over Eswatini 3-0, Lesotho over Zimbabwe 1-0, Mauritius, Libya 0-0 draw, Eritrea and Tunisia got canceled. CONCACAF, Honduras over Haiti 3-0, so best bet 1. Costa Rica over Nicaragua 4-1. USL, Charleston over Colorado Springs 5-0. And then so far today, friendlies. Japan over Brazil 3-2. South Korea over Paraguay 2-0. Iran over Tunisia 2-0. Norway, New Zealand 1-1 draw. Albania over Jordan 4-2. And Russia over Bolivia 3-0. UEFA, we have a final. Still even Moldova, 1-1 draw. Going on now. Andorra, Serbia, Italy, Israel, Latvia, England, Portugal, Hungary, Ireland, Armenia, Spain, Bulgaria, Turkey, Georgia. African finals. Gambia over Seychelles 7-0. Algeria over Uganda 2-1. Guinea, Botswana 2-2 draw. Nigeria over Benin 4-0. Mozambique over Somalia 1-0. And South Africa over Rwanda 3-0. And then going on now. Congo, DR, Sudan, Gabon, Burundi, Ivory Coast, Kenya, Morocco, Congo, and Senegal, Mauritania. And then Asian, Qatar over United Arab Emirates 2-1. And going on live now is Saudi Arabia and Iraq. All right, tonight we have CONCACAF 7 o'clock. We got Curacao and Trinidad. Curacao minus 160, Trinidad plus 460, draw plus 260. I'm going to go with over 2.5 goals plus 104. 8 o'clock, Jamaica, Bermuda. Jamaica minus 2,500, Bermuda's 40-1, the draw's 11-1. Over 3.5 goals, minus 118. 9 o'clock, Panama and Suriname. Panama minus 270, Suriname plus 750, draw plus 310. I'm going to go over 2.5 goals at minus 102. And 10 o'clock, El Salvador and Guatemala. El Salvador plus 165, Guatemala plus 185, draw plus 195. I'm going with the draw plus 195. All right, we have friendlies tonight. 8 o'clock, Colombia, Canada. Colombia minus 125, Canada plus 320, draw plus 260. I'm going under 2.5 goals at even money. Puerto Rico, Argentina. Argentina minus 7,000, Puerto Rico 65-1, the draw 17-1. Under 4.5 goals, minus 104. 9 o'clock, TNT, US, Australia. US minus 165, Australia plus 410, draw plus 270. US better freaking win. The game's at Dick's Sporting Goods Park in Commerce in Colorado, so I think that's where Colorado Springs plays, or that's where the Rapids play. I think that's where maybe both play there. I think it's the Rapids. I'm going over 2.5 goals and minus 110. And 10:30, Mexico, Ecuador. Mexico plus 145, Ecuador 2-1, the draw's 2-1. I'm going with Mexico at plus 145. Asian qualifiers, we forgot about this. Thailand over Chinese Taipei 6-1. Tajikistan over Maldives 6-3. Syria over Myanmar 3-0. Philippines over Timor-Leste 3-1. Hong Kong, Bangladesh 1-1 draw. Vietnam over Nepal 1-0. Malaysia over Laos 5-1. Turkmenistan over Sri Lanka 2-1. Singapore over India 2-1. Lebanon over Bhutan 4-0. Afghanistan, Pakistan 1-1 draw. Yemen over Brunei Darussalam 9-0. All right, tomorrow there's not a lot, but I'll touch on 2 games that will be played before I record tomorrow. UEFA Women's, we have OL Lyones and St. Polten. So, the numbers are all blocked for this one. So, Lyon is blocked, and the draw and St. Polten is each 60-1. And then, Valerenga and Wolfsburg. Wolfsburg minus 320. Valerenga is plus 650. The draw is plus 390. We're going over 3.5 goals at plus 132, and then the rest we'll do on tomorrow's podcast. Okay, now we'll move on to college football. We have a couple college football games tonight. 2 in Conference USA and 1 in the Sun Belt. All right, so the first game is 7 o'clock tonight. I know it's not on ESPN because hockey's on ESPN tonight. CBS Sports Network, New Mexico State Liberty. My line is Liberty 7.5, total 41.5, and it is New Mexico State's probably favorite because Liberty has not been as advertised. Oh, they're a big favorite. 10.5, totals 48.5. Under. Maybe they had some injuries, but now they're healthy. So next up, 7:30 ESPN2, Arkansas State, South Alabama. My line is Arkansas State 3.25, total 55, and 17/20ths, and it is South Alabama 7.5, total 58.5. I'm taking Arkansas State plus the 3.5 and plus 220. I think that is very high for that game. And last but not least, 8 o'clock on ESPN, FIU, Western Kentucky. My line's Western 5.5, total 54 and 17/20ths, and it's 10.5 and 55.5. I'm taking Florida International plus the 10.5. I think that is too high. Okay. NFL Tuesday segment. The Mulligan and the bet. On Tuesdays, I like to give out or announce what my Mulligan was, like my biggest, like, really Madison kind of bet. Obviously, if I took that over in Cardinals Colts, that would have been a Mulligan. I knew to stay away from that. I just thought that both teams did it rather than the Colts doing it by themselves. And that was even without Kyler Murray, amazingly enough. But I'm glad I stayed away from that because if I didn't, I would have had a 3-2 week. Instead, I had a 4-1 week. And so I went with Carolina. I went with the over in the Packers and the Bengals. I won with the Dolphins getting the points. I won with, this was the best week I've had all year. So I won with the Dolphins. I won with the Panthers. I went with the Bengals over. The Steelers over. Oh, my Mulligan was the over in the London game. I hit the over in the Steelers-Vikings game in London, and then I hit the over in the Browns game against the Vikings in London. And I fell for an international total again, and it didn't work out, and I should have known because it's the Jets against a good Broncos defense. So that was my Mulligan. And even if I went with the Cardinals Colts under instead of that over, I still would have been 4-1. So, if I went with the under in the Colts game instead of the Dolphins or the Packers Bengals over, I would have put 3-2. All right, so my NFL Tuesday bet. There's a couple games that I'm in line with. All right, the first one I'm going to do is there's a lot of them that are making me go, There's a couple that jump out right now. And I'm debating on 2 or 3. And the one that I'm going to pull the trigger on right now, I don't think this line's going to be this high tomorrow. The Bucks are getting 5.5 against the Lions. I know the Bucks have a lot of injuries, but so do the Lions. So I am gonna go with the Bucks plus 5.5 for my NFL Tuesday bet against the Lions, because I think that line is gonna go the other way. And the Lions have defensive injuries. Okay, now we'll move on to news and notes. A couple things that we have to get into. So Shiloh Sanders dresses up as Shador as he had the Browns and the Steelers fooled. That is so funny. So Jaden Daniels fumbled, which set up the Bears' game-winning field goal. So, like I said, 2 crazy games between those 2 teams. So James Rowson, who is a Yankees hitting coach, is a candidate for Minnesota's managerial role. So that's interesting. So that's the second time where someone that was on Aaron Boone's staff gets like a look at a managerial job. Yeah, Mendoza. Oh, and then the Astros manager. And now, so that's 3. The Big 12 dunks on Brett Venables as the conference social media account pulls up his stats. Yikes. Syracuse's head coach Fran Brown rips the PSU question as he's not entertaining the idea of leaving Syracuse for Penn State. And then Penn State's athletic director talks about firing Franklin and Franklin's inability to win big games was a factor in deciding to cut ties. Penn State's looking at Notre Dame's coach Marcus Freeman, and the Nittany Lions are expected to they're expected to search for big names, of course. And then James Franklin must seek a new job as they could avoid paying buyout due to due to Franklin's contract terms. So Nebraska's quarterback Raiola says Rhule's going nowhere as he's not having Penn State rumors. The Jets want a lot in a Jermaine Johnson trade. The Chargers are looking at running back and tackle trades. They should be looking at the Jets for Breece Hall, and they should be looking at. I mean, if the Giants didn't have Jackson Dart, I would have suggested maybe one of their linemen. I mean, Andrew Thomas is on a long-term deal, but that he's not really worth it if you know you're going to have those guys back next year, so you got to get a rental. The Ravens are releasing C.J. Gardner-Johnson as the agent of GJ says move is amicable mutual decision. Jeffrey Simmons trade unlikely as they don't want to move him, but other players could go. There was drama at Titans practice as Jeffrey Simmons calls out J.C. Latham for poor effort before Week 6 loss. Wow. And then 2 names already linked to the Titans job, Arthur Smith and Matt Nagy. 2 ex-coaches that flamed out. So Joel Embiid might play in the preseason finale against the Wolves for the Sixers. That's interesting. Bam Adebayo injures his knee. Didn't return to the preseason game after suffering knee contusion. Giannis eyes a Greece return as he wants to spend final pro years on a Greek team. Cooper Flagg is starting at point guard as he's filling in for D'Lo as lead guard in Mavs preseason game against the Jazz. He probably should be starting instead of D'Angelo Russell anyway. And speaking of the Mavs, Mark Cuban denies that the Mavs broke rules as he shuts down rumors that the team circumvented the cap to re-sign Dirk in 2014. And then the NBA okayed Clippers' aspiration deal as league vetted and approved $300 million contract in 2021 before alleged Kawhi agreement. Wow. Brady Tkachuk out indefinitely with a hand injury that may require surgery. That's not good for Ottawa. And, of course, the team I picked, the surprise, has a big injury. DJ Moore hospitalized. Taken for precautionary evaluation. And Josh Allen. Oh, wait, Josh Palmer. I read that wrong. Had an ankle injury. He was ruled out against the Falcons. George Kittle should be back on Sunday Night Football against the Falcons. Garrett Wilson may miss a couple weeks with a hyperextended knee. So Cam Ward had a bold quote as he warned the NFL what will happen when he gets to play how he wants to play. That's kind of a shot at Brian Callahan. Mark Cuban also says that the Knicks' punishment was soft as he believes penalty around Brunson's deal should have been far worse. Shut the fuck up, Mark Cuban. Like, for real. Shut the fuck up. You're just jealous and pissed that Brunson left your team, which was a big factor why Luka wanted out of your team. So shut up. You're a fucking problem anyway, and maybe it's a good thing you're not involved anymore. I'm sorry, that pissed me off as a Knicks fan. But still. Get over it. The women's college basketball AP poll came out. UConn's number 1, South Carolina is number 2 despite shakeups. And Gordon Hayward takes a role at Butler as he was named men's team executive basketball advisor. That's pretty cool. All right, so last but not least, best bet of the day brought to you by FanDuel. There's a couple directions where we can go. It would have been enticing to take the Brewers. But I'm going to go to hockey. And I'm going to go under 5.5 goals between the Wild and the Stars tonight. I don't feel super about it. But I do think this has a shot to hit. So under 5.5 plus 114 between the Wild and the Stars. So there you have it for the show. I'll be back tomorrow recapping everything and looking ahead to everything tomorrow as well. Have a great day, everyone.